All right, let's talk about the architecture of Audacity. We're not just talking about setting any old goals today. We are talking about crafting goals so massive, so incredibly ambitious that they have the power to completely redefine your entire future.
But let's get real for a second. Have you ever wondered why so many of our biggest, most exciting plans just never seem to get off the ground? You have that incredible idea, that spark, but then somewhere along the way, it just kind of fizzles out.
Well, there's a name for this. It's called the vision execution gap. And it's like this giant, frustrating canyon that sits between the amazing future we can dream up and the actual day-to-day things we do. Our most epic dreams just get swallowed up by the daily grind.
But what if that didn't have to be the case? What if there was a totally different way to set goals? A method, a blueprint for building a solid bridge right over that gap, a bridge that connects where you are right now to a future that feels almost impossibly out of reach? Well, there is.
Okay, let's get into it. This idea comes from the incredible work of Jim Collins and Jerry Porras, and it's called the BAG. That's B-H-A-G, and it stands for a big, hairy, audacious goal. And believe me, it is every bit as epic as it sounds.
So what in the world is a BAG? Well, forget your quarterly targets and yearly objectives for a minute. We're talking about a massive, long-term commitment. Think 10, 20, sometimes even 25 years down the road. It's a goal so huge and compelling it becomes a North Star for an entire organization, or hey, even just for your own life.
And this quote from Collins and Porras just nails it. A true BAG isn't just a target, it's a unifying focal point. It's so powerful and so easy to understand that it gets everyone pulling in the same direction. It lights a fire under people and creates this incredible sense of shared purpose.
Now, it's super important to understand what a BAG isn't. A vision statement, that's kind of like a star you guide yourself by. It's aspirational and you never really reach it. A quarterly goal, that's just a single step on the path. A BAG, that's a whole different animal. It is a real, tangible mountain that you are actually committing to climb. It has a summit.
And here it is, one of the most legendary BHAGs of all time. I want you to just think about this for a second. When Microsoft declared this, computers were these giant, room-sized machines that only huge corporations had. Saying you wanted one on every desk in every home, it was absolutely insane. It was audacious, and it literally changed the fabric of modern life. That's the power we're tapping into here.
So, how do you actually build one of these things? What are the ingredients? Let's peel back the layers and look at the anatomy of a truly audacious goal. Because it's not just about thinking big, it's about thinking big in a very specific, very smart way.
A really great BAG has 5 key elements. You need that long-term timeline. It has to be super clear and specific. It's got to be emotionally compelling. It has to give you goosebumps. And it absolutely has to connect with your core purpose. But here, this is the secret sauce. The probability of success should only be about 50 to 70%. It has to be so daunting that you can't achieve it with your current methods. It forces you to get creative. It forces you to grow.
And get this, they're not all one size fits all. Jim Collins actually found there are 4 distinct flavors of BHAGs, each designed to stretch an organization in a completely different way. First up, you've got your target-oriented BHAG. This is all about the numbers. It's quantitative, it's clear, there's no ambiguity. When Walmart said, we're going to be a $125 billion company by the year 2000, that was it. A clear, measurable finish line. Every single decision could be weighed against that one simple goal.
The second type is the competitive BHAG. This one taps into something primal, right? It focuses all of an organization's energy on beating a specific rival. It creates this powerful us versus them story that can fuel a team's motivation for years and years.
Third, there's the role model BHAG. This is all about looking at another incredibly successful company, maybe even in a totally different field, and saying, we want to be like them. It gives you a really clear picture of what greatness actually looks like.
And this has to be the most perfect example ever. Early on, Stanford didn't just say they wanted to be a great school. They set this as their goal: become the Harvard of the West. Wow, you instantly get it. It's ambitious, it's inspiring, and it created a benchmark for excellence that drove them for decades.
And finally, you have the internal transformation BHG. Now, this one's different. It's not about beating a competitor or hitting a revenue target. It's about fundamentally reinventing your organization from the inside out. This is for companies that know they need to make a massive change to survive and thrive.
Okay, so we've talked about the what. We know what a BHAG is. But now let's get into the why. Why are these audacious goals so ridiculously effective? What's going on inside our own heads that makes this work? The psychology here is just fascinating.
So a huge part of the magic is something called the Pygmalion effect. It's this well-documented idea that when you set higher expectations for people, they actually rise to meet them. Their performance literally improves. And a bag? It's pretty much the highest expectation you can set. It's a powerful signal that you believe a team is capable of true greatness.
The other piece of the puzzle comes from something called hope theory. And the big idea here is that hope isn't just some fluffy, passive feeling. No, it's an active, cognitive process. It's a powerful mix of both the willpower to get something done and the actual planning to figure out how to do it.
It boils down to this really simple but profound formula. Hope equals agency plus pathways. Agency is your motivation, that fire on your belly, that I can do this belief. And pathways? Those are the concrete routes you figure out to get to your goal. A BHAG is so inspiring, it skyrockets your agency. And it's so challenging, it forces you to invent completely new pathways to get there.
Okay, so this all sounds great, but let's be practical. How in the world do you build that bridge from today all the way to a future that's 10 or 20 years away? How do you make something so massive actually feel real?
The key is a brilliant strategic tool called backcasting. See, instead of starting from today and trying to guess your way forward, you do the opposite. You start at the finish line with your bag already achieved, and you work your way backward to today. You identify the big milestones you must have hit, figure out what needed to happen first, and plan for all the obstacles. It takes a terrifyingly big goal and breaks it down into a logical, achievable path.
And if you ever, for a single second, doubt that this way of thinking works, just remember this. This was one of the greatest BHEGs in the history of humankind. It was clear, it was compelling, and it seemed utterly impossible. Land a man on the moon and return him safely to Earth. Just think about that one little word, safely. That didn't just add to the challenge, it defined it. And it united a nation to redefine the limits of what was humanly possible.
So we've seen how one single audacious goal can unite a team, how that sweet spot of a 50 to 70% chance can spark incredible innovation, and how working backward can make the impossible seem possible. So that brings us to the final and most important question, the one for you. Looking at your life, your career, your team, what's your moonshot? What big, hairy, audacious goal, if you really, truly committed to it, would absolutely redefine your future?